to do anything with this one, Dennis? We good? There we go. If everybody can have a seat, thank you so much for coming out here tonight. It is so good to be back here in person and doing these again. And so I want to thank every one of you for coming out here tonight. My name is Matt Chapkus. I'm the president of Humanity for Prisoners. And it's my pleasure to welcome you all. It's the first time we've had an in-person event like this since 2019. So it's been a minute, and I'm glad we could all get together again. This morning, I started looking back at 2019, the last time that we got together. And that month of October 2019, we had just over 1,000 requests for assistance in the month. And that entire year, we added 1,151 new clients. This year, next week, we will have over 2,000 new clients this year alone. And on average, we're doing over 2,000 requests for assistance every month. And in March of this year, we did 2,599 requests for assistance in 1 month. It's a lot of work by a lot of staff members, and so our thanks to Melissa, who is part of our staff, Ted, Mitchell, Sarah, and Susie, who are in back and helping out, and of course Doug for helping out with all those requests. We're doing a lot of good work in the prison community, and we've created a fantastic name with Humanity for Prisoners, where prisoners know that you matter. If you hadn't noticed, we are selling some t-shirts out back. Those will be available after as well. And they say "You Matter" right across the chest. They got a little Humanity for Prisoners logo on the back. They're available for $20. Unless you need a 2X, then that's $25. But I encourage you to stop, take a look. We've also got copies of the book of our guest tonight, Susan Burton, who we'll be welcoming out in just a minute. Before we do that, I need to ask Cindy Anderson to come up here a minute. She doesn't know about this. For those of you who don't know Cindy, she was a member of our board of directors from 2015 to 2021, and she was a chair of our board for 4 years of that, I believe, and just an invaluable piece of what we've done here at Humanity for Prisoners. Cindy, we can't thank you enough for the difference you made for us, for our nearly 10,000 clients whose lives we've touched. And so we wanted to give you just a little gift. So if you want to come over here with me a second. It's Oliver.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, that is a painting of Cindy's house, and it was done by a client of ours by the name of Oliver Mirko. And all I did was, well, Doug found a picture, got it to me, I emailed it to Oliver, and from that, he created that beautiful piece of artwork. And so a small token of our appreciation for all the wonderful things you've meant to our staff and our clients. Yeah, but you gotta give me a hug first.
Oh, made me cry. Well, thank you very much. And this is very meaningful and powerful. And but the biggest part of being with Humanity for Prisoners is knowing that these guys make a real difference in the lives of people that nobody else remembers. So it's been a joy and an honor to work with you, with all of you, the support from all of you out there who continue to care about the people that the world has forgotten about. And thank you for this. This is very kind. And I also want to say thank you to the committee that worked on this event tonight, Karen Walters, who put the dinner for the sponsors together. Oh, I'm going to forget everybody's names. Carol Cousineau, Betty Porter, who can't be here tonight, Stacy Grossman, Melissa Chapkus, Doug Chapkus, Matt Chapkus. We had a great committee, and I set them loose and then went on a vacation for 2.5 weeks, and they did it all. So I guess I'll invite them over to look at my painting. So thank you.
You want to take it now? Or?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. It's beautiful.
It is.
It's so cool.
All right. Now I want to welcome to the stage our newest employee here at Humanity for Prisoners, Mitchell Pugh. Mitchell carries a distinct honor of being our first former client to be an employee here at Humanity for Prisoners. We are absolutely blessed to have him on our staff, and I just wanted to invite him to talk for a couple minutes about the work that he does now and the work that our whole staff does. So please welcome Mitchell.
Good evening. My name is Mitchell Pugh, and I served 31 and a half years in prison. So we'll let that sink in a minute. That's 3 decades. In 1988, I was 16 years old, was waived from the jurisdiction of the juvenile system to the adult system to be treated as an adult, was sentenced to life in prison, and went off to do adult time. 31 years later, I was able to be released. But during that time, I became familiar with Humanity for Prisoners. I actually lived the real life experience of what they do for incarcerated individuals. So just to touch on a couple of examples, I recently witnessed a son get reunited with his mother through a people search. That is a service that we perform. We help prisoners with contact information. We do bigger things like medical issues, commutations. We're trying to make life in prison better for the individuals that are there, and we're very successful. And as Matt gave some numbers, we're growing and we're getting increasingly more busy. And I'm loving the fact that I'm able to be a part of it now. An opportunity became available a couple of months ago. I was made aware of it. I applied for the job and they hired me. And so I am the first client of Humanity for Prisoners to be an employee. So I'm very proud of that. I'm grateful that they gave me the opportunity. And I'm here to attest to the wonderful things that Humanity for Prisoners do for guys that are inside and women. And I was a witness to it for a number of years. So I just wanted to speak on that briefly and share the difference that we're making. And now that I'm part of it, I'm making the difference in the lives of friends that I had left just months ago. So it's a big deal, and I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm glad they gave me the opportunity to do that. And thank you for giving me the moment to talk to you.
Now, I remember the last time I left prison. The guard said, "Burton, you'll be back. We're keeping a bed for you." I came back all right. I came back to lead women to freedom. For 20 years, I was caught up in the criminal justice system. I wondered if I die in prison or if I ever find a way out. How y'all doing this morning? The last time I was released from prison, I found help. I found people who treated me as if my life mattered. I began to heal. A new way of life was developed out of my own experience. We help people rebuild their lives after a period of incarceration. People talk about second chances, third chances. For many of the women, this is a first chance. How do you lock someone up and then send them back to the community with no resources? When a woman walks out of those prison doors, a new way of life is there. We have family reunification, 12-step meetings, workforce development, and of course, housing. It's time to pay it forward. I look for women in other parts of the nation who wanted to replicate our model. We are in 16 states. We have 24 sites, and we're in 3 countries. We're creating a community, of women helping women. I want to see women free. People can find their purpose, their dignity, their humanity, if they're given the opportunity.
All right, with that, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm West Michigan welcome to Susan Burton.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. I'd like to first thank the people who brought me here and welcomed me. I have felt so cared for, so loved, and so appreciated. And it wasn't always like that. So first I want to thank Cindy and Don for picking me up at the airport and having my hotel ready for me, and just everything you've done, even dinner last night. It was great. And I want to thank Humanity for Prisoners, Doug, for your tireless work, reaching out to people who many of us would forget about, that you haven't forgotten about, that you've been working with, reaching in on behalf of this community, this state, for over 21 years. So I'd like for us all to give Doug a hand of appreciation for his tireless compassion and resources to help those behind the walls. Please, let's give him a hand. And I want to thank Matt for carrying the torch forward. You're good. I had a friend that just signed up to come to the dinner a couple hours ago, and her name was up there too, and I'm like, God, he's good. Yeah. Thank you for keeping the work going. I know that sometimes you feel like you give out. But I know that when we keep going and we don't give out, what happens for me is I get more to give. And I guess you've probably experienced that on several occasions. It looks like there's nothing else to give, but you get more to give. So thank you. Thank you so much for all of your work and your tech stuff. I'm not techie. So the tech stuff is just really, really good. And of course, Dennis that is running our tech today. I want to recognize and thank people for what they've given and what they've put in for this night right here and for all the work that's gone forward. And I want to thank you all for coming out tonight and being a part and just wanting to and being here to listen to me. Yeah, so I started a new way of life in 1998 following my last release from incarceration. And as you see in the video, in the L'Oreal video, I never expected to be a L'Oreal awardee. I thought I was way past that, 15 or 20 years ago, but I was selected. But the last time I left prison, I told the guard, I'm not coming back. And he said, yes, Burton, you're coming back. We got a bed for you. And I said, no, I'm going out and I'm going to get a job. And he said, the only job you'll ever have is behind prison walls. And if someone hadn't have been helping me, if there hadn't have been that hand up, if there hadn't have been that compassion, that empathy, those services, surely I'd have returned to prison one more time. So it's so soul-shattering what happens to people behind the walls and to people when they come back into the community. So I feel like humanity for prisoners is my sort of like spirit connection in the universe, in the nation, sort of like my soul connection, that what we do are so closely aligned. How we reach back and how we reach people, how we care and how we extend compassion to folks that are people, just like you and me. People who got caught. Some of us didn't get caught. Some of us did get caught. But irregardless to whether we did or didn't, none of us is the worst or lowest moment. That second, that time when we just made a mistake, big mistake, little mistake, or mistake. None of us is the sum of that moment that we made the mistake. So I think it's important, the work that you have founded, Doug, the work that you carry on, and the people that work with you, and the people that support the work. So when I came home that 6th time from prison, I got the help that I needed. And this was after so much pain, so much suffering, so much trauma. You know, as a child, I never, ever remember feeling safe. Safe in my neighborhood, safe in my skin, safe in my family, safe in my school. And, you know, I wrote the book, Becoming Miss Burton, to talk about all of those instances, all of those experiences that landed me ultimately in prison and never allowed me to feel safe. So I was 46 years old the last time I was released from prison, and I finally found help upon that last release. And I found help in an upscale community in Santa Monica by the beach. And what I found there was this wealth of services that I'd never seen anything like it. I'm from South LA. Santa Monica was about 10 miles down the freeway, or 8 miles down the freeway. And it was another world. And I took in all of those services. I mean, it was like, okay, I can go to therapy, I can go to job training, I could go to AA, I could get a sponsor, I could do medical services, dental services, I could go to art shows, just a whole world opened up that I never ever knew existed. And I began to heal, and I began to get stronger, and I began to look around, and I began to wonder why did some people get court cards and drug diversion and community service for a drug possession or being under the influence of drugs? And why did others get put in chains? Why did others get hauled off and stripped of all of their dignity and locked up and worked? And I was like, this is like two worlds, 8 miles apart. And I began to think about all of the different things that I hadn't been exposed to and what I had been exposed to. And it didn't make sense to me. I was saddened by it, but I was also angered by it. Never get a woman mad. Never get a woman mad. So I thought that if I could recreate my experience in Santa Monica, in South LA, then women like me who had been swept into the criminal justice system would have a chance. They would have a chance to rebuild their lives, to get clean and sober, to get their children back. You know, just have a chance. So I worked, and I saved my dollars. And I bought a little house, and I called that house A New Way of Life. And at A New Way of Life, we put beds in the bedroom. I put beds in the bedroom. I had a friend that was working with me. I put me a little cot in the dining room. And I'd go down to the bus station downtown Skid Row. If you've ever been to Los Angeles, you know the Greyhound bus station is right down and smack dab in the middle of Skid Row. And it's a horrible place to be released back to. But I'd go down there and I'd meet the bus because it got there every day at the same time. And I'd tell my friends, hey girl, I have a bed for you, come on over here. I have a house, it's clean, and it's drug and alcohol free. If you want it, there's a bed for you. And some women came, and some women didn't. But before long, there was a house with 10 of us in there, of women helping women. We were recovering together. We were crying together. We were laughing together. We were sharing sharing resources, and just, it was like a healing house for women. And you know, we got better. We recovered. I recovered. All of us in that house got better. But I saw that there was more to do because the level of discrimination, the level of disdain for people, for women who had made a mistake was horrifying. The discrimination that we faced, the way people pushed us out and wouldn't let us in, the way jobs that we were qualified for wouldn't hire us, the level of discrimination, the ability to even get our babies back. You see, I had lost a child, which was the final tether that had broke my resilience. I had lost a child. He had been accidentally ran over. He had been accidentally ran over by a LAPD detective. And I just couldn't, I couldn't deal after that, so I drank. It escalated drug use, and I went to prison. It was just a horrible accident. But how do you say that to a mother? And there should have been, you know, trauma centers. There should have been grief centers in the community. I went to grief counseling in Santa Monica, but there was no grief counseling in South LA. But I want to tell you, I was able to ultimately work through all the harm of the past, all of the pain and disappointment. I was able to forgive and let go of all of the need for revenge that I had held or that had held me, and get on with my life. And it opened me up to be able to love clearly, deeply, have compassion, action with compassion. That's the tagline for Humanities for Prisoners. You know, action with compassion. And I got free. In that freedom, I got strength, and I got the ability to actually go out and live. So I started this house, and we were all doing well. But then we started the advocacy, and I began to understand some of the ills of the world. And I began to understand it was not so much what was wrong with me or wrong with us, but what was wrong in the world. You know, how does the world harm little girls and little boys too? How does the world, what type of world or people harm them and then hurt them on top of the harm? So I realized that there wasn't so much wrong with me, but it was what was wrong in the world, in a society that was unforgiving, a society that was harsh, a society that was hell-bent on punishment instead of rehabilitation and compassion. I belong to a group, so I do meditation. I do guided meditation. Sometimes I go off into weeks of silent meditation. But in the guided meditation, we talk about sending compassion out into the world, you know, and at the end of our compassion, you say, sending compassion over there, sending compassion over there, sending compassion down here, sending compassion up there, and I tell my group, that's not enough. We have to take action. We have to take action with compassion, and if we can get into empathy, that might push us a little bit further into compassion. So it just came to my thoughts about the compassion over here and over there. I'm like, we got to take action. We got to do some stuff. So what happened with the New Way of Life is, you know, got into action and more action and advocacy. And so what is, over the years, a New Way of Life has turned into a pretty cool model. It's no longer one house. It's 12 houses across LA County. Yeah, we house women with children, and we have a advocacy department. Is that all of that in the video, in the PowerPoint? Should I go to the PowerPoint? I think I'll go to the PowerPoint so it can be cohesive, because I might just bounce all around the place. And then me and Doug is gonna have a conversation. So if I could get the PowerPoint, I think I can operate the thing. It's there. So let me go out here. So a New Way of Life promotes healing, power, and opportunity for formerly incarcerated women and people by taking an approach. Can't see this, so yeah. A multifaceted approach to mitigating the effects of incarceration. Our organization began with one home. Now we have 10 homes, but we just brought 2 more homes, so we have 12. The other two are being remodeled. We provide pro bono legal services. We have 2 legal departments, one that does post-conviction relief and the other that does family reunification. We have workforce development and advocacy and leadership programs. We believe in the leadership of formerly incarcerated people and their communities and families members. So that's my son, KK. Yeah, that's my little baby. So I found recovery support at Claire Foundation out in Santa Monica after over 15 years of cycling in and out and 5 years under the control of the Department of Corrections on parole. So a total of 20 years under the authority of the California Department of Corrections. And then I found found out that recovery services were easily and accessible and a common alternative in wealthy white middle class communities. And throughout my life, I experienced traumatic events. As a child, I had been assaulted. As an adult, I lost my son. And when he was 5 years old, society responded to my trauma with incarceration instead of support. In 1998, I purchased a home, and from my own experience, I knew where women would arrive, and I'd meet them at the bus station. My vision was that this home would offer support to women in South LA, space for healing, power, and opportunity. Oh, let me see. So, okay. I'm gonna go here. This is the place that I want to get to. So, after I wrote my book, I went on a tour of prisons all over the nation. And between 2017, well, my first book tour was the beginning of 18, and through 2018 up until 19, I went to 64 prisons and jails, taking the book to women, doing book signings and book readings with them. And what I found there were women were pleading to come back to their community, to a place like a new way of life. And they asked me if I would start a place in their communities. What I did is I began to train people to replicate our model. I knew I couldn't be everywhere with everybody, but I could train other people. So now we're in, we have 16, well now we have 26 or 24 members, and we're in 16 states in 2 countries, three countries, Kenya, Uganda, and the United States. And the members of the network receive training, technical support, and support for implementing the model. So that's our expungement clinic, our family reunification, All of Us are None, our advocacy and leadership departments, and then there's the book. So the book has been, I think, very impactful for me and many other women. Women tell me that they read my book and they feel hope. They feel inspired. They feel like they can go on beyond prison where they were feeling hopeful and doubtful. So this is our last, this is one of the last buildings that we got, or places that we got. So this is Villa La Tournelle, named after St. Vincent de Paul, who had a place in Europe where that was called La Tournelle, where prisoners were being held. The St. Vincent de Paul Society gave us this 14-acre campus during the pandemic for $1. They allowed us, they didn't give us a deed, but they gave us access. That's enough for $1. And now we turn I call it a nunnery, into a reentry home, and we have some of our administrative offices there. But those are our social media, our Instagram, our website, and so forth there. So I know how fortunate and lucky I am, how blessed I am, how protected I am as I go about the work. Doug, I'm sure you get that feeling also. Matt, I know you get the feeling, and I know you know what you're doing too. It's so happy to have you on board, relaying the reality of the work, the depth of the work that we're doing. Because many nights, many nights, I would lay in my bed in prison, and I would wonder if I would ever make it out. I would wonder, I would be questioning, I would saying, why? And I just didn't know if I ever would. And I can remember reaching out from inside and hoping somebody would hear my pleas, hoping some program would pick me up and help me out. And I never got an answer to my letters. I would be perched on my bed during mail call, just hoping someone would call my name. But it didn't happen. So the work that Humanity for Prisoners does, it's life stabilizing for someone inside to know that they're worth someone responding to the letter and reaching out. It might not, we get I gotta get so much damn mail now, so many bills, so much mail now, but, I'm out here now, I'm doing a lot, I have a credit score, I do all that stuff, so I get all this mail now. But I can tell you that receiving a letter, receiving a response to my legal pleas, just someone saying, you matter. We care. We're here for you. It's so important. So again, I want to thank you for your support of this work. Thank you for being here tonight. And I hope I made a little sense. Yeah. Hope I, made a little bit of sense. And again, thank you for your work. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
My pleasure.
I'm going to invite Doug up now, and we're going to raise this screen up, and hidden behind this screen is a pair of chairs, and we're going to do a little Q&A session. Everybody should have had an opportunity, gotten a card handed to them. Otherwise, I can run out in the crowd and get questions. And then Doug and Susan are just going to chat here for a while, a little bit about this important work that's being done.
Should we hide behind the screen, or?
I think the screen's going to come up eventually.
The Lord willing.
There we go. You good?
I'm good so far.
All right.
There goes the screen.
If anybody has questions, just raise your hand. I'll come grab it from you and bring it up.
While we're waiting for questions to come from the audience, let me start by asking a few. Okay. You and I talked about last night. I'm so annoyed when I see that guard telling you you're going to be back. We hear that every day. Every prisoner that I think every prisoner that I've gone to greet walking out has heard that same message. Guards taunting them, saying we'll be back. Now, it's one thing for our organization and for your organization to be doing what we do. But Susan, we've got to get farther back in the system. The system needs some revision, some improvement, it needs to be reworked. And I think one of the things, and I don't mean to be dominating the conversation here, but one of the things you saw and we see so much mental illness, for example, in the prison. These people aren't trained to handle mental illness. And I don't think they're trained to handle positive things like reentry. They'd rather taunt and tease you. I think, and I don't mean to brand all guards that way, because there are many wonderful corrections people, but we mustn't treat prisoners that way.
I mean, we really have to question our approach to social problems, social ills. Why would we lock up somebody for being, why would we lock up mentally ill people? Why wouldn't we have the resources available to treat that? Why would we victimize victims? Why would we criminalize, drug use, which is another mental disorder? But how do we use punishment to correct illness? So we have a really backwards, harmful approach to these problems. And I think that we as, voting people can use sometimes our ballot to correct some of that. We also have state and local representatives that we need to sit down to reason with them around how we correct some of this. So we had 3 consecutive presidential tough on crime people who told us, who pushed on us all of this rhetoric about, community safety.
3 strikes and you're out.
3 strikes, war on drugs, all of this stuff that got us where we are today. But it isn't an answer, it's a problem.
Yes.
And so what do we do around correcting it? Maybe they thought their approach was right, but now we see that it is not right. I mean, $75,000 a year it costs to punish me for medicating grief. It's not just me, it's thousands and thousands and thousands of people across this country. And so we just have to be more smart, more compassionate, and take more action around creating different approaches.
Now, you alluded to something. I want to touch on something else a minute. You alluded to something else in your presentation tonight, and that is the discrimination.
Yeah.
And I want to touch on that a little bit more, because we, Humanity for Prisoners, has some information as well on the state of Michigan, on the disparity, the difference between black people in prison and white people in prison, and women in prison, and men in prison, and the difference in sentences for these people. And I think it's not just in one state. I think it's a common problem. Are we making any progress on that?
No, we're not.
Oh, that's encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, you could have, and you'll see all across, people charged and overcharged, and the sentence being double or triple for a black man or a black woman as it is for a white man or a white woman. I mean, I've seen in my own neighborhood white people and brown people get a pass, where a black person does not get a pass. I've run programs where there's opportunity for white women, brown women, but less opportunities for black women. I can tell you, I can send 3 women to get welfare benefits. The white woman comes home with welfare benefits that day. By the time she gets back to the house, she has benefits, welfare benefits on her EBT card. You know, we got the little electronic EBT card. The Mexican woman will have it the next day or within 3 days. The black woman, we have to go back and forth up to the office, and they'll tell her that it will take 30 days. I mean, this is just for food stamps. So it's really entrenched, really difficult for black people in this country, period. And again, I want to say that I am so grateful and so thankful that somewhere along the line, I got the chutzpah to stand up to it, to call it out, to demand, you know, what the next person has, and not be deterred from moving forward, you know. So somewhere, you know, and somehow there's this grace that has been sprinkled down and around, and I hope God, well, I know God knows that I'm a good steward of the work and the faith and the mission that I've been given, that I can continue to move forward and I can address this. But I'm so I know that, you know, I made it through the eye of the needle.
Right.
Yeah.
Someone would like to hear a story of your favorite client.
Oh my goodness. Oh, there are so many. But there's a woman named Evie who I had a conversation with last night. And in that conversation, Evie told me that she was proud she was black. She never, ever had been ever proud that she was black, and that she was happy she was black. And I told her, me too, Evie, I'm happy I'm black too. But that is something that tells me that she has made it somewhere inside of her that cannot be corrupted from the outside. Yeah. So, yeah.
Good. A member of our audience says, what is your antidote for the need for revenge, for retribution, that so many of us really have, and we do have it?
Yeah.
She said, we heard you say action with compassion. How or in what way do you recommend ways to grow this compassion in people?
Yeah. So, my remedy for revenge is forgiveness. You know, forgiveness of others, forgiveness of myself, and to acknowledge and recognize our humanness. We all make mistakes, and give that grace to myself and give that grace to others, that none of us are perfect and we all make mistakes.
But we often hear in parole board hearings that the families of victims want revenge. The people in our office, in Humanity for Prisoners office, are actually accused of being on the opposite side And really, we're all in this together. Because we're advocating for the prisoner does not mean that we're anti-victim.
Yeah. Well, if
Really,
we-
restorative justice has got to be, we've got to start encouraging that.
Well, if we actually would take the time to look beyond the surface, we'd see that the prisoner was a victim before they were a prisoner. And they never got the opportunity to heal. You know, long before I was a prisoner, I was a victim. And so, you know, we, can how we say, criminalize people's response to trauma, people's response to negative experiences. We criminalize that instead of help treat it. I mean, we need more victim centers. We need more ways to address harm, those that are harmed and those that experience harm. Yeah. Yeah. Or those that make harm.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
We're going to wrap it up because you're going to be doing some book signing yet, too, so I don't want to take a whole lot of time here. Somebody asked a question about HFP, whether we work with the ACLU. Yes, we do. And I'll try and deal with that a little bit more, but I'd like to stay with your organization for tonight rather than what HFP does. But you...
Well, it's all about you. We need to give to Humanity for Prisoners, yes, yeah. Yeah, this is your event.
Well,
yeah.
We, you and I and our teams, our organizations have a common cause.
Yes.
And I feel blessed to be part of it, and I feel blessed to have had you here tonight and be a part of this with us. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you. Yeah.
I think that's it. Is that it, Matthew?
That's all, folks.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you for your involvement. Thank you for your interest.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Standing ovation for you. All right.